Well, hey, Gundam Maniacs, welcome to another episode of Gundam Explained. In this episode, we're going to go through all the mobile suits, the Strike mobile suits that Kira Yamato of Seed piloted. As I am getting more, into Seed based on the mobile suit designs, I really wanted to dive in to Kira's mobile suits, the Strike packs, all that came after, so I can really kind of level set and get an understanding of all of his mobile suits he has. He has a bunch, they're really cool looking. Let's dive in. All right, it starts with the GAT X-105 Strike Gundam. This one looks pretty bare bones to me, but that's just because it doesn't have the Striker pack. So it's a prototype multi-mode mobile suit introduced in the anime Mobile Suit Gundam Seed. Its primary pilot was Kira Yamato before it was passed down to former Mobile Armor ace pilot Mulaflaga. A remanufactured unit was piloted by Sven Cal Bayang. What a name. So the GAT Strike Gundam is the most versatile of the 5 Gundams in the Earth Alliance G project and can be easily configured for various types of combat using its striker packs. It can be outfitted for high mobility combat, the Ale Strike, long range assault launcher strike, or melee combat, sword strike. In addition, the striker packs are also equipped with backup batteries that can extend the strike's operation time. Built on the X100 series frame first adopted by the GAT X102 Dual Gundam. The Strike also has the phase shift armor system. In terms of armament, the Strike itself is equipped only with 2 head-mounted CIWS and a pair of combat knives stored in the side skirt armor, but it can also be armed with a bazooka, a shield, and a beam rifle. Later on, the Strike Gundam was equipped with a natural use OS to allow its new pilot, Mulaflaga, to control the suit effectively. Okay, next up is the GAT X-105 plus AQM-E, no, more of a forward slash, all right? E, then dash X03, oh my god, what a name. Launcher Strike Gundam. It's a prototype long-range bombardment mobile suit introduced in the anime Mobile Suit Gundam Seed. It was piloted by Kira Yamato before it was passed down to Mulaflaga. And again, we're getting the Strike, the standard Strike, which kind of has a cool basic look. Here's one of its striker packs, which is a great gimmick, both in terms of in the anime, new weapons that can be used, but also in terms of the Gunpla. You buy the Gunpla, are there striker packs sold separately? Are there different kits that you could buy that have the different ones? All of the above apply here. But it's a pretty cool system, I gotta say. When equipped with the Launcher Striker, the GAT X-105 Strike Gundam becomes a mobile suit designed for long-range bombardment capable of taking down fortresses and heavily armed targets. Besides the armament mounted on the Strike itself, which includes head-mounted CIWS guns and combat knives, the Launcher Striker adds the large Hyper Impulse Cannon in a combo weapon pod, which contain a 120mm anti-ship Vulcan gun and 2 350mm gun launchers to the armament of the suit. The Hyper Impulse Cannon functions as the Launcher Striker's main weapon, while the combo weapons pod serves as a defensive role against enemy mobile suits and missiles. Although the Launcher Strike has reduced mobility due to the weight of its heavy equipment, its capabilities make it a very effective mobile turret. Okay, the GAT X-105 AQM-E-X02, yeah, I forgot the forward slash in the plus, but it's okay, it's a lot to say. Sword Strike Gundam is a variant of the Strike Gundam introduced in Seed. So I guess this is more of a melee pack. Let's see what it says. The GAT X-105 Sword Strike Gundam is the GAT X-105 Strike Gundam equipped with the AQM Sword Striker, and it is designed for close quarters combat. This makes it the ideal choice in an area where little collateral damage can be risked, such as in a colony interior or within the hangar of an allied base. Besides the armament mounted on the Strike Gundam itself, which includes head-mounted CIWS guns and combat knives, the Sword Striker adds a large anti-ship sword, a rocket anchor, and a beam boomerang to the armament of the suit. Of all the striker packs available for the Strike Gundam, the Sword Striker is the lightest. It also has the highest combat endurance, as its energy consumption is the lowest, and can be used for aquatic combat, as most of its weapons can be used underwater. That's pretty awesome, I gotta say. I like how they talked. I like how they're able to specify within the different packs how it affects the mobile suit, whether that's weight, mobility, power consumption. And I do like this sort of this sword, and you know what? Seeing the armor like on one side almost reminds me of like the samurai or maybe ninja that have that look to it, which, yeah, this is really cool. Okay, and then what makes up the rest of that perfect strike, this Ale Strike Gundam, And take a look at it. I think this is what really makes the Strike Gundam look good, is when it has this AL Strike backpack on it, because I love mobile suits with the wing binders. I think it makes sense for aerodynamics, for any sort of flight that occurs. When it's kind of like bare bones, I feel like, well, how is it going to really function? The AQM, I don't need to say all that all the time. AL Striker is the most commonly equipped striker pack for the Strike, as it provides the greatest versatility. Thanks to the powerful vernier thrusters built into the AL Striker, the Strike Gundam becomes an all-purpose combat mobile suit with enhanced speed and maneuverability compared to its base capabilities. Despite the strength of the thrusters, they do not perform well enough for true flight capabilities inside Earth's atmosphere. Interesting. However, they do allow the Strike to glide in the air for a short time and enhance its jumping capabilities to the point that it can combat mobile suits on ghouls that are flying low. Besides the standard armament of the Strike Gundam, the AL Striker pack adds a pair of beam sabers to the suit's armament. So interesting that I didn't know that. I didn't realize that really the beam sabers only exist on the Strike with the AL Striker pack. That is fascinating. And I guess, yeah, you can see on the back here, it shows where the beam sabers are coming up. It's not like we see with like the Freedom and other of Kira's suits where the beam sabers are on the side skirts. Okay, next up we have the GAT, or GAT X105 plus AQM /E-YM1 Perfect Strike Gundam. Man, what a name, but it sounds cool. And check out this. I mean, it is supposed to be perfect. It's like everything smacked on it. I kind of like this. The Perfect Strike Gundam is a configuration of the Strike Gundam equipped with the AQM EYM1 Multiple Assault Striker, which integrates the characteristics of the AL Sword and Launcher Striker packs. A modified AL Striker pack served as the central unit of the Multiple Assault Striker. Its main wings are moved back slightly for mounting the Schwarzgewehr anti-ship sword and the Agni Hyper Impulse Cannon, and 4 battery packs are attached to the back to deal with the increased energy consumption. Although the Multiple Assault Striker enabled the Perfect Strike to fight in all ranges with powerful weapons, it has 2 major problems. Firstly, the added weight of the Multiple Assault Striker led to a decrease in mobility, and secondly, the large variety of weapons make it difficult to operate them efficiently. Due to these issues, the Perfect Strike was only developed in combat once, but was able to exhibit high operability due to the skills of its pilot Mulaflaga. Oh, okay. So while Kira may have piloted, it was Mulaflaga that really made good use of it. Very cool. Okay, here we have the AL Strike Rouge. So this is the Strike Gundam, I guess the AL Strike Gundam, but red. So they call it the Rouge. And apparently it was used for Kigali, but it looks like Kira did pilot it. So this is a Strike Rouge with the AL Striker pack to improve the speed and maneuverability. The AL Strike Rouge is the most commonly seen form of Strike Rouge and is armed with 2 head-mounted CIWS guns, 2 combat knives, a beam rifle, a shield, and a pair of beam sabers stored on the AL Striker. Though never stated it seems the AL Striker pack for the Strike Rouge was upgraded by the Orb Union between the end of the First War and the Second War. The original AL Strike pack did not have the full flight capability in the atmosphere, but during the Second War, the AL Strike Rouge was able to fly in Earth's atmosphere alongside the Freedom Gundam on several occasions. So that's pretty cool that there was this upgrade that was given to a suit, I guess, that Kira had already been piloting, but they were giving it to Kigali since, you know, they're kind of on the same side. And again, it's the Strike, but kind of red or pink, you know, which comes from, yeah, the Strike Rouge here, which I guess this is what it looks like without the AL Striker pack. This was very interesting. So this was a repaired Strike Gundam using spare parts to build and, you know, repaired by Orb. So it's like an Orb exclusive version. That's pretty neat. And then it even goes further, the Rouge version. It gets this Utori. Check that out. It's like the AL Striker pack sort of thing, just upgraded even more because the wings look badass. I like the colors. It reminds me of the new Gundam. Okay, the Strike Rouge Utori is the Strike Rouge equipped with the multi-purpose EW454F Utori Striker, which Morgan Rode has been developing since the First War. The Utori Striker is a striker pack based on the P202QX IWSB. Oh, okay, yeah, I don't know. Integrated weapon striker pack, and is also meant to allow MS to handle various situations without changing equipment. However, it has a simpler structure leading to better reliability and ease of maintenance. So it sounds like a kind of a general upgrade, which makes sense. Compared to the AL Striker, the Utori Striker's flight system is a vast improvement as it is capable of powered flight in the atmosphere. Okay, that was one thing that was brought up before. The pack is equipped with a beam launcher, railgun, large anti-ship sword, missile launcher, and several wing-mounted missiles. The drop tanks on the bottom wings contain a stealth support system that utilizes Mirage colloid, but not much detail is known. In addition, the Tory Striker can function as an independent unit when it is separated from the Strike Rouge. Now that is cool, an independent flight unit. So it's interesting because it says it is primarily piloted by Kigali and briefly by Kira. So all these Rouge, were they briefly really piloted by Kira? I kind of don't remember if that was in the show or it's more of because it's based on the Strike, he's considered someone that briefly piloted it. Okay, the Cavalier Aphrid, which I wasn't too familiar with until I saw Freedom, the movie, which could have been where it was introduced. Actually, it says that right here. Support craft introduced in the animated film Freedom. It's just interesting to see this artwork right here. The support craft used by Compass with their mobile suits specializing in battlefield command and control and electronic warfare. Unlike previous such vehicles like the Gull, the Cavalier Aphrid primarily carries its passenger's mobile suit beneath it. Though the mobile suit can also ride on top if required, it also more heavily armed than previous subflight lifters with a pair of plasma cannons and missile launchers as its main armament. The Cavalier can operate in environments able to travel in air, space, and even underwater. So pretty cool. You know, Kira piloted that. Doesn't look much like a Strike, does it? I mean, I guess you know what? Those guns sticking out the side look like the side skirts of the Freedom and the wing binders down here. But let's get to the main part. You know, every pilot gets their upgraded suit. Sure, the Strike had all those Striker packs on it, but the real upgrade is probably this Freedom Gundam, one of Zaf's series of Gundam units built in CE-71 using technology derived from the 4 captured Earth Alliance's Gundams. The Freedom Gundam has a phase shift armor, and its armaments include CIWS beam, saber shield, plasma beam cannons, railguns, and a beam rifle. When the latter 3 weapons are used simultaneously, the Freedom is said to be in full burst mode. The suit has full flight capabilities in the atmosphere, and the rear-mounted wings can be deployed in high mobility aerial tactics mode to enhance its mobility in the atmosphere or in space. It also has an advanced targeting system, the multi-lock-on system that allows it to target and fire at multiple enemy units simultaneously. Due to its capabilities and loadout, the suit has a reputation as a specialized mobile suit killer. That's pretty cool. But its high performance results in a complicated control system that demands extremely fast reaction speed and spatial awareness from its pilots. And we do hear that a lot. A lot of specialized mobile suits, Saikamu mobile suits that, you know, a new type or just a ace pilot would need to pilot. But what's cool to pull from this is where we see the full burst mode. I guess anytime you see the animation of the Freedom Gundam with its weapons out, you know, from the backpack to the side skirts and its guns, that's the full burst mode that we're looking at. So again, another quick look at it. I think this is a really cool upgrade from the Strike. I think the Strike looks cool. This does, and I think it's mainly the shoulders, make it look a little too more futuristic than the standard Strike, but I do think it's a cool looking suit anyway. And here's it with that meteor attachment add-on thing, which looks badass. Obviously, this is like badass ship stuff. Okay, we got the Strike Freedom, we got the Freedom Gundam. Now, Kira has upgraded to the Strike Freedom Gundam, where it looks like a Freedom Gundam, but I really like the gold accents going along, you know, on it. I think that just kind of elevates it. Yeah, with the hands, kind of an inner frame look with the gold, but even where there's some accenting like on the wings and even how it's in line with the same gold as the V-fin, I really think that gives it an overall awesome look. Okay, a mobile suit tuned to meet Kira Yamato's needs, the Strike Freedom has variable phase shift armor, and like its predecessor, the Freedom Gundam is primarily armed with powerful ranged weapons. Its armaments include head-mounted CIWS, an abdomen-mounted multi-phase beam cannon, hip-mounted railguns, combinable beam sabers and beam rifles, super Dragoon pods controlled by an improved Dragoon system, and beam shields. It is powered by the new Hyper Turian engine and is also equipped with the neutron jammer canceller. Oh, I remember that. And I remember when they'd come up with these things in the show for the story, and you know, hey, it worked. And the Volturare Lumiere propulsion system. Wow, there's a lot of technology behind this one. Due to Kira's stellar piloting, his mobile suit is rarely hit during combat, and thus Strike Freedom's design emphasizes maneuverability over its armor's defensive capabilities, though beam shields were installed as a compensatory defensive measure. As a result, its armor is split into smaller pieces to improve the movement range of the joints. To compensate for exposing more of its internal parts, the suit's internal skeleton and joints adopted phase shift armor materials. When these parts phase shift, they gain strength and near human flexibility. Additionally, excess residual energy within the body can be discharged through the joints' glowing effects. I mean, this thing, it's almost like a super robot at that point, where Gundam moved away. It took kind of the super robot things that worked, but made it more realistic and grounded. I feel like Seed is taking that Universal Century grounded approach, but then adding the super robot back into it. It's a great looking suit, but my favorite is what comes next. Actually, that's not true. This is not my favorite. This is a cool one, though. The Rising Freedom Gundam. So this was the one introduced in Seed Freedom as like the new suit. It actually, if you look at it, it looks very different from a Strike. It's more in line with what we get from the Freedom Gundam. But with this Rising Freedom, I do love the emphasis of the emblem on the shoulder, and I do love the light blue that goes along with the darker colors. This is actually very cool looking. All right, using all previous operational data from the Strike Freedom Gundam, the unit was designed incorporating transformation technology acquired by Orb through the MVF M11C Murasame. That's a great one. Also, its weapons are developed and manufactured from plant, and latest technologies from various countries and organizations are used to develop this unit. So it's like a joint effort of all the good guys to come together with their best technology, build the best Gundam. It shares a frame with the Immortal Justice Gundam, as well as containing the same panoramic monitor cockpit and operating system. This state-of-the-art mobile suit is also remarkable in that it is even more compact in size than previous Freedom variants. Its equipment mainly consists of long-distance combat armament with a variable phase shift armor that can neutralize physical ammunition. With its common frame as a base, equipment may be changed depending on usage needs, making this a multi-role unit capable of utilizing numerous variations. Look, the Strike Freedom sounded like a beast. Rising Freedom sounds even more like a beast. Like, it just seems like Kira is just constantly the most powerful in the most powerful mobile suits. But they do a good job making it seem even cooler when he comes. It's like, how much cooler can his mobile suits get? And because I'm a sucker for flight modes, here is its mobile armor flight mode. Looks great. Okay, but even though we went from the Strike Freedom to the Rising Freedom, it goes back to the Strike Freedom Type 2. Doesn't look too much different than the other Strike Freedom. So it's an upgraded version of the Strike Freedom. The Type 2 was said to be powered by a nuclear fusion reactor and features various improvements while retaining the same types of weapons and abilities as its predecessor. Its railguns have a different shape, and its beam sabers are now stored on racks above the railguns, similar to the Freedom Gundam. Its Super Dragoons have been upgraded with beam shield emitters, enabling multiple Dragoon pods to generate large beam shields when additional firepower is required. The Strike Freedom Type 2's backpack and Super Dragoons can be detached, allowing it to combine with the Proud Defender for the mighty Strike Freedom Gundam, which is a cool one. That's what got me into all this in the first place. The Type 2 also includes a new panoramic cockpit that can accommodate an additional co-pilot on the right side. Well, I'm sure the difference... Okay, here we go. I'm clicking back and forth of the pictures of the Freedom Gundam, or the Strike Freedom Gundam and the Strike Freedom Type 2. And there's not much going on there. There's not much going on there. I mean, I don't even know if this was sold as an additional model kit where it's like maybe a millimeter of the shoulder was different. Okay, but then that takes us to the main course, and that is the ZGMF/A-262PD-P Mighty Strike Freedom Gundam, which is really cool. I feel like it takes the best of the Strike line, the Freedom line, and it really goes in, adds some more gold, which I think is like sort of the main thing to insinuate an upgrade for Akira's mobile suits. All right, the Mighty Strike Freedom Gundam is the combination of the Strike Freedom Gundam Type 2 and the Proud Defender. Support craft replacing the Super Dragoon wing backpack and giving it enhanced combat ability. It uses advanced nanoparticle technology emanating from and controlled by its wings to create various offensive and defensive capabilities, including a spherical energy shield that can absorb heavy attacks from all directions and a wide-scale electric energy surge attack that disables enemy targets and destroys projectiles within a large area around it. So, I mean, look, these Strike and these Freedom variants, they get super and super and super. What else can you really do? And I think it's really just double downing on the design that works, but just adding the right flair to make it awesome. And if you saw my recent video review I did of the Mobile Suit Ensemble Mighty Strike Freedom, I did a recent review of the Strike Freedom Master Grade SD. I just need to get, and I have the high grade Rising Freedom. I need to get my hands on the high grade Strike Freedom, Mighty Strike Freedom. Like, I always feel when it comes to building a mobile suit, you kind of take in the designs around it, and you really feel like when I look at something like this now after building the Mighty Strike Freedom mobile ensemble, even though it's not to scale, it really gives me more appreciation of the design elements that went into it, the weapons, etc. Anyway, that was just a quick look. It was a reference of Kira Yamato's Strike or Freedom Gundams. Even some that, did he really pilot it like the Rouge, or he did sometimes, but that was maybe based on his mobile suit, so that's why they consider him piloting it. But even if you take into account just the upgrades the Strike gets, from the Strike Freedom to the Strike Freedom Type 2, and then you get the Rising Freedom, like Kira Yamato, as the lone pilot, probably gets some of the coolest mobile suits out of all of Gundam. I don't know if there's another pilot that their main suits, I guess they would need multiple shows, multiple movies to do that. And Kira Yamato has had enough to show those off, and he's always in a badass mobile suit. So what do you think? What's your favorite of Kira's suits? I'm going to say mine's the Mighty Strike Freedom. That might be kind of boring, but I guess that's just the ultimate version. I love the gold and the white. It works well, but curious what you think. And is there maybe something, I was using the wiki and some other references online, but maybe there's another mobile suit that he's piloted that's not talked about much. Yeah, share that in the comments. That'd be cool to talk about. But anyway, thanks for watching. Shout out to Art Rovo Gundam, sponsor of this video and the channel, and also shout out to all the supporters that make this possible. I appreciate all of you. And check the links in the description if supporting the channel is something you're into. Also check the links down there for our Discord. We have a lot of fun there. And there's a link for Art Rovo Gundam, where I have a promo code where if you buy 2 things, you get free shipping. So check that out. That should be cool too. But anyway, thanks for watching. We'll talk later.